A man who was aspiring reform and equality for his race, foundation of determination, personality of perseverance, and encourager of afraid Filipinos. This is Dr. Jose Rizal. He was molded by his experiences during childhood years. He was become the eye of brutality and other inhumane punishments from the Spaniards. The first time Rizal went abroad in June 1882, he was a mere lad of 21, a youthful student in search of wisdom in the old world, a romantic idealist with beautiful dreams of emancipating his people from bondage by the magic power of his pen. Time had changed. Rizal at 27 was an embittered victim of human iniquities, a disillusioned dreamer, a frustrated reformer. February 3, 1888, the second travel of Rizal abroad. He left Manila for Hong Kong on the board of the Faro. He lodged at Victoria Hotel. He was welcomed by Filipino residents, including Jose Maria Basa, Balbino Mauricio, and Manuel Iriart. Rizal was impressed by the small but clean and beautiful city and its people who were cool, gentle, and timid. After 15 days, February 18, 1888, Rizal, accompanied by Basa, boarded the ferry steamer Hukang for Macau, for which he described as a small city, low and gloomy. Rizal returned to Hong Kong where he studied Chinese life, its people, and its language. He also celebrated the noisy Chinese New Year. On February 22, 1888, he left Hong Kong on board for oceanic and American steamer for Japan. He stayed at Tokyo Hotel and studied the Japanese people, its customs and traditions. Rizal treasured his life in Japan, where he was welcomed, cherished, and loved by a Japanese woman, Osei-san, who introduced him to Japanese traditions, history, and language. He lived a very comfortable life in Japan, but was forced to leave because he could not sacrifice his country and gold for the good life he had in Japan. On April 13, Rizal on board Belgic left Yokohama, Japan for San Francisco. April 28, 1888, Rizal's arrival in this great country, the America. He was marred by racial prejudice, for he saw the discriminatory treatment of the Chinese and the Negroes by the white Americans. All passengers, even Rizal, were not allowed for land because the administration of the whites impeded the entry of Chinese coolies. He was impressed by the progress of the country, the drive and energy of the American people, the natural beauties of the land, high standard of living, and the opportunities for better life offered to poor immigrants. But notice that they lack racial equality. America is the land for the excellence of freedom, but only for the whites, as what Rizal said. After visiting the United States, Rizal lived in London from May 1888 to March 1889. He chose this English city to be his new home, to improve his knowledge of the English language, to study and annotate Morgan's Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, and London was a safe place for him to carry on his fight against Spanish tyranny. He described London as a big and beautiful city, and it celebrated a part as worthy of its great fame. The entrance is magnificent, and the Cox House is quiet. Rizal arrived in Paris on March 19, 1889, straight from London. The approaching Universal Exposition had made it difficult for him to find a living quarter that he lived in the house of his friend, Valentin Ventura, at number 45 Rue Maubridge, where he polished his annotated Morgan's book, until he finally found a little room where he lived with two other Filipinos, Capitan Justo Trinidad, a Gobernadorcillo of Star Ana, Manila, and Jose Albert, a young student from Manila. Life in Paris was filled with excitement and merriment, but despite the social parties and the glittering light of the cities, he wasted no time in finishing his annotated book. He even founded two Filipino societies, the Kidlat Club and Indios Bravos. He was inspired by the American Indian who were not ashamed to be called Indian. Aside from the publishing of Morgan's book, he had written an article, The Filipinos Written a Century, and his famous essay, The Indolence of the Filipinos. He celebrated his Christmas in Paris and left for London shortly after New Year. According to historian, he went to London to check his annotated book of Morgan's successes and to see Gertrude Beckett for the last time. He was back in Paris by the middle of January 1889 and was struck by the influenza epidemic in Europe. Because of living in Paris and the gay social life of the city which hampered his literacy works and made Rizal leave Paris for Brussels, Belgium, where he was accompanied by Jose Albert. They lived in a modest house owned by two Jacobi sisters, Suzanne and Marie, where one of them, Suzanne Jacobi, got attracted to him. It was in Brussels where he was busy writing his second novel, El Filibusterismo, by the time Jose Albert left and was replaced by Jose Alejandrino. It is also in Belgium where he had contributed many articles for La Solidaridad, and he noticed and criticized the gambling of Filipinos in Madrid. It is also during his stay in Belgium that he received a bad news from home stating that the Calamba agrarian trouble was getting worse. With this in mind, Rizal planned to go home despite of the warnings of his friends, but the letter from the Ponces saying that they had lost the case against the Dominicans in Manila made him change his mind and went to Madrid instead. Early in August 1890, Rizal arrived in Madrid where he had many disappointments. When he had failed to seek justice for his family, almost fought two duels with Luna and with Tana, and the letter he had received saying that Leonor Rivera married another man. It is the rivalry between him and Del Pilar, as a leader of La Solidaridad, that finally led him to leave Madrid and seek solace from these disappointments, that he took a vacation in the resort of Biarritz. He was welcomed by the boasted family. It was in Biarritz when he had a serious romance with Nelly and finished his second novel, El Filibusterismo. Year 1891 brought some happiness in the life of Rizal, where he met the women he wanted to marry. He had realized the publication of his second novel, El Filibusterismo. After a month of his stay, Rizal felt happy and soon forgot his sad happiness in Madrid. The scenery was beautiful, and the air was filled with joy and laughter. Moreover, he was in love again. It was for him, for the moment, a happy interlude. This time, the object of his affection was the younger Nelly Busted, whom he found to be a revealed Filipino, highly intelligent, and who shared with his sound beliefs and values about morality. His marriage proposal to her was failed. The novel was highly praised by both Filipinos in foreign lands and those in the Philippines. The El Filibusterismo, which offered by him to the three martyrs, the Gumbuls. After the printing of his second novel, Rizal left Europe for Hong Kong because of his widening political differences with Marcelo H. Del Pilar and of being near the Philippines and his family. Rizal arrived in Hong Kong on November 20, 1891 and stayed for 7 months before he traveled again. Before the Christmas Eve, he was gladdened by the arrival of his family. The reunion was one of the happiest moments in his life. Rizal practiced medicine to support himself and his family. He later became successful and popular and have been a renowned ophthalmologist since he had integrated a wide clientele of different nationalities. Rizal celebrated his 31st and last birthday in Hong Kong until he left on June 21 with his sister Rizal for Manila. After his stay abroad, Rizal finally decided to return in Manila with his major reason to establish the La Liga Filipina. The second travel abroad of Rizal strengthened him and shaped his wider knowledge in fighting reform from the dominance of the Spaniards. Always I have loved our unhappy land, and I am assured that I shall continue loving it till my last moment. My career, my life, my happiness, all I have sacrificed for love of it.